was a kid, drummer the playlist for the next 5 years.
He won't necessarily.
I've already worked out the schedule. I've already made my appointment. In the 50s.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the first meeting of 2020 of the Rotary Club of Greenville. Woo! If everybody would please stand. I have today leading our prayer is Debbie Sickles, the Pledge of Allegiance, Bill Ralston, four-way test, Larry James, and we have a special song, which I guess David Ellis is leading because he didn't put a name on there. So, okay. All right, Debbie.
Bow with me in prayer. Dear Lord, we come to you this day. We want to graciously thank you for this beautiful weather that you've given us, and we want to thank you for this new year, this new decade. It's never promised, but it's in your promises that we have faith. Please be with our country, be with our leaders, be with all our military personnel, and watch over them. Lead, guide, and direct our leaders, and protect our armed forces, and protect our country, and please bring peace to our country. Bless this food to the nourishment of our bodies. And in Jesus' name we pray, amen. Amen.
Please face the flag and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please join me in the four-way test of the things we think, say, and do. First,
is it true?
Second,
Is it fair to all concerned?
Third,
Will it build goodwill and better friendships?
Fourth,
Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
CJ has
Music.
a good one.
Okay, so I have been chosen today to lead the music. Bless you, my child. Because I have the ability to make all the birthday people front and center. Right here. Whoop, whoop. Unless I need to get my ticket book out and start walking the parking lot. I want birthday people right here. Right in the line. Troy. Come on, other January people. Robert? All right, good. Wow. January people's over here. Over here.
All right. These are all good looking.
Very good company here. First Monday, happy birthday song. Well, first Wednesday, happy birthday song.
That's not it.
Ready? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear you. Happy birthday to you.
You should sign. Excellent. Happy birthday, January peeps. Okay, it looks like that we have a visitor today. Liz Patterson, would you please tell us who your visitor is?
Yay! Okay. You didn't know this, and you just got to stand up when I introduce him. This is Vince Patterson, who happens to be my son, and he is joining our agency. He has an extensive background in property and casualty, and he's learning my side of the business so I can have a backup and maybe go on vacation more often. He's just come to visit to see what Rotary is all about.
Very good.
Welcome.
thank you.
All right, let's get to Happy Bucks and Deck of Destiny.
Okay.
Who's got money?
Okay.
Oh yes, by the way, Happy Bucks this month is going to be for the Boys and Girls Club, so really get in those wallets.
Okay, that was a big $5 bill that I just put in there, and y'all are going to get sick of me for about the next 7 or so weeks, but I do need to let you know it is Chili Fest and auction time. Woo! I do have the auction tickets, but I was greeter this morning, so another reason I put in an extra buck, because CJ covered for me till I got here. So I didn't have time to get a table and lay these all out. Some of these are already in your name, so please come by. We have these alphabetized. Come by and pick up your tickets. There are some that have no workers on them, and there may even be some that have ex-Rotarians on there that we'll kind of siphon through maybe by next week. These are basically an auction sheet. It has two parts, a white and a yellow. You will go to the said person. Let's just say I'll use one of mine, and I go and do Texas Gold Connection every year, and you basically fill out what it is and the value. You fill out that you're the worker. I also have some blank ones, so you can take a few because not all the new businesses are on there. If you are unsure what to do, please come to me. There are a few of you that only have one sheet in here. Come on. There are some of us that have 20 and 25 sheets, so all we ask to at least do a minimum of 5 each. So that's all I ask, and there's some that have no names on them, so you can feel free to go through those and basically just work those. All we want is auction items. We're going to do like we did last year. I will try to get here early. I will stay a little bit late, and we want to turn in the items on Wednesday, so we're not carrying them back and forth and back and forth. I really don't want you to bring them to my office. I do not have room for all this stuff. So please try to turn them in Wednesday. And please try to have them done before, come on, when's the Chili Fest? It's the 27th. So we really would like the last turned in around the 20th so we can get gift certificates, boards available, and the things that we need to do prior to that day. So if you have any questions, y'all come see me. And don't forget it's auction time.
No,
Okay.
but
Okay. Who's next?
I have kind of a sad dollar. It's basically because Liz Patterson came by today and signed me up for Medicare.
TJ's got something stuck on her head.
I had money stuck to my head. Here you go. I am announcing that the Northeast Texas Choral Society is having auditions Saturday the 11th, this coming Saturday, 10 to noon, at the First United Methodist Church in Sulphur Springs. And our concert this year is going to be gospel. So if you like gospel music, the gospel concert is usually, I hate to say even better than Christmas, but it's usually the best. So please come audition and join us.
Okay, you want to try that house, TJ, okay?
Please, please.
I also have a sad, happy buck. The Chinese paddlefish, one of the world's largest fish, has been declared extinct.
Aww. I really like the
That's
Chinese.
sad. Okay, moving.
Due to pollution in the
Moving towards Larry.
Happy buck. We made a trip to Indiana to see grandbabies, and they're growing. I got a grandson that tall now. Thank goodness.
Well, that's exciting.
okay, I'm putting $2 in for, a lot of us are leaving next week to go to Cozumel. 8 of us are cruising, and how many are flying? 5 are flying down. And we're going to be enjoying the company of the Rotary Club of Cozumel. And also to do some great things for the students there at the CAM in a new school, which is the CAED, CAD, however you say that. And we're going to be just really enjoying those kids, and we hope that next year many more of you will go.
David?
I'm happy to announce, and you'll hear this again and again probably, but March the 11th, not too far away, I have a confirmation from Colonel Allen B. West to come speak to the club. And it's going to be a big day. So I'll be announcing it again.
Very good. This whole table's been real happy and contributed this morning. Going to Roxanne.
Well, I'm just happy for 2020 to be here and excited about what the future's going to bring, and wish everybody a happy new year. And I'm so excited. I want to thank Karen and Katie and everybody that made it possible for me to go on the Rotary trip, and I'm really excited about it.
Yes. We're happy you're going.
Very good.
Love it.
All right, I got a couple of things. I know Katie's been on me about getting social media out.
I know as Rotarians, we do more than just what we do inside this room. Your social media, if you're doing another event or you're helping somebody else out, take pictures, post that. Send it to Troy, send it to me, he'll send it to me, and we'll post that. Because we do more than just what we do as a club. So, please be vigilant. And if you see us post something, repost it. Like it, share it. We want that. Okay, on a different note, speaking for my wife, the Altrusa, next Tuesday they are having a speaker come in here to speak. Rebecca Charleston. She's a survivor advocate and executive director of Valiant Hearts. This is on human trafficking, which, looking at our list here, we're speaking about that the next week. So if you're interested, you can buy tickets online. I told her to speak to everybody and let everybody know. I do have some flyers, so human trafficking is bigger here in our area than we ever gave credit for. So thank y'all.
Okay, anybody else happy to be here? Would anybody be happy about winning approximately $800 right now? We got $760 plus what's in this bucket. So you all cross your fingers, all right? I think there's going to be a winner today. You know, we've been doing this for quite a while. And this deck is really skinny. We're looking for the ace of spades. Madam President, you pick the winner today.
Debbie, Katie. It's going to be better.
Drum roll.
Oh, come on.
The numbers on.
You say it. You holler it up.
In the numbers.
Oh, I didn't bring my glasses. Okay, 859. 3, 2, 7.
Me?
3 and 7, okay.
Oh, Gloria. Not Gloria. Anybody but Gloria.
Would go right into that casino.
Yes, it will.
I know it's in there because I parked
It's been there.
She gets a boost free. Oh, God.
Alright.
Probably be next week. No, y'all are last year.
Okay, moving on.
No drawings. Okay. Next week. No drawings next. Sorry. Okay. I would like to give one person just a minute. Do you want to? Where did Keith go?
He left. You're right.
Over there. Do you want to talk about the visitors' days very quickly, please?
I'll just talk from over here. I don't think I need a microphone. We've got about 6 months left in Katie's year as president, and we have some goals for membership. And I'm the membership chairman committee. We have a committee that's been working and trying to bring new members in. And for those of you who've been something like this for a long time, you know that you bring members in and you lose members each year. People are just through attrition coming and going. And so we are trying to maintain our membership level and give Katie some of the goals for her year. We're in need of quite a few members because Katie's been cleaning up the rolls, and we've had some people on leave of absence and so on and so forth that have not been able to come back. And at the start of the year here, people are making some changes and transitions. So what we're going to do is we're going to ask the club to participate with the membership committee 3 times between now and the time of Katie's determination of her year, the conclusion of her year. And we're going to ask for the club to help us with a Bring a Guest Day. So we'll have this on the calendar very soon, but January 29th, which is just a few weeks away, will be our first Bring a Guest Day. March 11th and April 29th will be the others, but right now we want to focus on March 29th. So please,
January 29th.
I'm sorry, January 29th. Please plan on being here that day, and please plan on bringing a friend, a guest, a neighbor, an employee, a church member, anybody that would be interested in attending the club, joining the club, and working with the club. So please have that in mind. We're going to try to have an extra head count that day because it will have an effect on the food and everything that we're doing here. And but we're asking for your help. We're asking for your enthusiasm, your contribution on this. Bring a friend, bring a guest. Let's get them here and try to get them to join the club.
January 29th. Write that in your book.
We always ask everybody, you know, invite people to come on any given day, but this is going to be a concentrated effort on that day that each of you please ask one person in your life to come and see what we're about. I mean, we're about to go to Cozumel, y'all, and bless these kids, and it's going to be amazing, and I love it. I just have the best time every year that I go, and they love it. So they can hear about those topics and all of the things that we do here locally. And I'm really, really excited about having the opportunity to express that to some potential new members. The last thing I would like to just announce very quickly is the Cotton Patch, CPC Cotton Patch Challenge. A couple of weeks ago, I met with representatives from CareBide, and they have made the decision because they are continuing to grow and they've acquired new properties, and it is going to take more time to do those things than they have, you know, to do both. They have gracefully asked to and resigned from being our partner on the bike ride. So we no longer have a partner. It was put before the board today. There was a committee that met to make a decision on whether or not this should be something that we move forward with as for just Rotary as a club, and it was presented to the board this morning, and the board did approve to move forward potentially with us taking on the entire bike ride ourselves. This is something that is going to be a huge deal because as of right now, the way we've been doing it is splitting the proceeds half and half. This means that we will receive 100% of the proceeds, which means we can do things like potentially increase the number of scholarships that we give high school students. We've got one sitting over there. We can potentially increase all of the money that we give to the nonprofits right now. So increase the amount that we give. Look at new nonprofits. Look at other entities in Hunt County that we can just bless this amazing gift with. So one of the things that I will be doing is I will be sending out an email to that effect to everybody. I would like for you to respond back to that email if you have any comments, if you have any suggestions, if you have any information that you would like to put forth concerning the bike ride and what we're going to be doing this year, taking it on as a whole, as a club, just ourselves with no partners in this. Okay, so please be looking for that email to come out. Right now, I would like to invite Mr. Jarvis up. We have Student and Teacher of the Month. Hello.
Okay, we're going to start off with Student of the Month, and so Wyatt. Up here. So the first of the year, figured if we'd bring y'all the #1 ranked student in the senior class, which is Wyatt. There's a lot to Wyatt, and that's impressive, but just the person that Wyatt is what's very impressive. The things that he does, how he keeps himself down to earth. He's just one of those guys that you really would love to have a part of any team that you have, company that you have, anything that you have. And I ask a lot of people about students and stuff, and say, how is he, and all that sort of thing, and I've always asked them, they always say positive things about you. You're just a good guy. And that's the thing, I mean, you think that, you know, you got some guys in some situations, because right now, this one right here is one, he was in National Merit semifinals. That's less than 1% of the high school seniors reach that. That's what he can do. He also stays down there, keeps it down there because he keeps those faith, family, and everything else as his priority. That's very important. He he's on our baseball team, he's in NHS. Park Street Baptist is very big in his life, and in the youth there. He also can play the piano and violin. Nice. And He's not a part of any of our band, but I'm quite sure you would be chair of any part of the band you wanted to be in. Just very gracious and classy is how he's described by us, or even his teachers. And there's one other thing that he's going to do. I'll let you, I said faith, family, and there's one other thing. I'll let him tell you about that, what he's going to do with the rest of his life. And his mom's here, Laura, she's over here, and he's just a great guy. And probably he's going to do big things that probably bigger than Greenville. We'll get to read about it in the future. Student of the Month, Wyatt Spivey. I joke with him all the time. You got a 10-minute speech ready? Oh, sure, I got it. And then you just walk off. Here's your 10 minutes.
I won't take that one. But thank you, Mr. Jarvis. He is a wonderful principal, and he's been good to me and my family, especially this year.
Already foul over there, sorry.
If you couldn't tell, I will be attending the Texas A&M University down in College Station this next year. I'll be majoring in mechanical engineering and will be pursuing a career in that field. I love playing on the baseball team. That's aside from school right now. That's my main focus. I have been involved in the robotics club, or the robotics team down at high school. The teacher of the month, it was my 9th grade English teacher, and so I'm very familiar with her. Aside from that, I'm very glad to be here today. I'm very appreciative of all y'all do in the community and high school, and thank you for allowing me to be here. I'm not trying to run.
Did y'all take his food?
I'm going to hold him down here.
Y'all take his food?
And I'm also going to say, I thought that your mom was another student, so.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. So, Wyatt, we would like to present as the Rotary Club of Greenville. We really appreciate all of the attention that you've paid to your high school career and all of the activities that you're in. So we would like to present you with the Student of the Month award. Thank you. Now you can.
Okay, Ms. Nelson. Ms. Nelson is our Teacher of the Month and also will be Teacher of the Year. Ms. Nelson, I want to say that, when I was assistant principal, then I went to the middle school. Then when I came back as a head principal, I needed some help from some of the ones who had some experience. So Ms. Nelson and a few others are really the ones I went to when we needed to make a decision. Instead of making a decision by myself, I always went with her because she knows what's going to be the best interest of our kids and whatever we wanted our school to go to. So she's always been a leader to not only kids in her classroom, but also to administrators as well. Ms. Nelson teaches our Pre-AP English 1, and she taught seniors at one time, and then we started a new program called Independent Student Mentorship, which is ISM. Some of you may be familiar with that because you may have had some students who should come and shadow you. They all over Greenville, Texas. And it's a program where we have kids who just kind of investigate what type of career they may want to go in, what major they want to take on in college. So it gives them time to see where the ins and outs of what a real life job is. And so we have it for our juniors and seniors. So sometimes you have a junior, he may follow this path, and then he'll go to another his senior year. Gives them an idea about what they want to major. Wyatt, I think Wyatt's in that program as well. And you're not?
No.
No?
You already knew what you wanted, right?
Yeah. We still have you at number 1? Messed up my speech. So, well, the rest of them take advantage of the program, knowing what they want to do, and just it's because of her leadership and the program that we'll do 2 programs during the year that she puts on and has those kids make their presentations about what they learned during the year. So it's just great. Ms. Nelson, I won't say how long you've been teaching, but she was at the other building. Yeah. And she spent some time at the other building, and she started in January as a French teacher and was turned loose in a classroom where 2 or 3 teachers had already tried to stay in there and they got ran off. Just Nelson stayed, worked there for a few years, and went down to Houston, put her child through A&M Commerce, or A&M College Station, and then came back to us, and we've been very lucky to have her back in Greenville, Texas. If you want to hear some of those stories about the old school, please see me. So she has some good stories about it. So thank you very much for working with us. And our kids are very happy.
We would just like, as the Rotary Club of Greenville, to thank you and say how much we appreciate having teachers like you here in Greenville, and to receive the Teacher of the Month Award.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you. Well, what he was trying to tell you is 2 things. I'm old and I've taught a long time. He was too nice to say that. And Wyatt, I did approach Wyatt about being in the ISM program, but he is one of the fortunate ones who already knows exactly what he wants to do. So he didn't take up a spot for someone who is still wondering. I have taught for a long time. I started out, I didn't even graduate with my college class because I left the college classroom and entered the high school classroom, like he said, where there had been a little bit of classroom management problems. And Bill Walters, I think some of you may know him, he came into my room that day and he said, "Joan, you're going to do just fine. Don't turn your back on them." So that's how I started my teaching career. And thank goodness he was an assistant principal there, so I had him to fall back on. This is my last year of teaching, and I've decided that it's time to move on. I've had the privilege of teaching each of my grandchildren, and a few years ago my youngest grandson said, "Nina, will you please stay until I'm finished?" So Landon and I are graduating in the class of 2020.
That's awesome. All right. Mr. Weiland, would you like to come up and present our speaker today?
I'm happy to, but first, Wyatt and Mr. Jarvis, when Mr. Jarvis was talking so positively and kindly about you, it made me sad, because I realized that my principal never talked to me about me like that. It's my pleasure today to introduce to you our program is Mr. Bob May. He's a baseball historian. And he's got a series of talks, both secular and faith-based, that honors great baseball players, and some from the black ball area, the old Negro leagues, or segregated baseball. He's given over 60 baseball talks in 6 states. And this summer, 2019, he's researched where all the National Baseball Hall of Fame players were born. Now, his first talk on these players is the ones that were born in Texas. And next summer, he's going to be in New England states, where he's from. I was listening to him talk to Bill Ralston. He's from Boston, where they don't say Avenue, they say Ave. You see, I've been there a lot in Boston. He's going to give talks about baseball players born in New England when he was there. He's always been passionate about baseball. I've read it here, and I heard him tell Bill he went to his first baseball game in the summer of 1949 with his dad, and he went to Fenway Park in Boston to see the New York Yankees play the Boston Red Sox. Who won?
I don't remember.
Don't remember?
Still in awe.
Oh, okay. I haven't been in it, but I've driven by Fenway Park. And he's lived in Rockwall since 2000 with his English wife, Michelle. And this is where I read his greatest accomplishment. They've been married 52 years.
73.
Trust me, I know that's an accomplishment. And they've got 3 children, 8 grandchildren, and he currently is working, Mr. Jarvis, is a substitute teacher in Rockwall ISD. You may tap him, it's just a short drive to Greenville. Mr. May, would you present the program for us, please?
Sure. Well, it made me feel good that Wyatt, being a student, and in fact that I've been subbing now for 13 years, Wyatt's the kind of student I like. I like those that are going to pay attention, do the work they're supposed to do. In fact, when I was a substitute teacher, well, I'm still a substitute teacher in Rockwall, but on many assignments, I actually worked on my manuscript for the 2 books that I wrote on the Negro League. I did a lot of that writing as a substitute teacher. Obviously, it was in those classes where the students knew what they were supposed to do and spent most of the time doing it. And so I'm also glad you're a baseball fan. That's good. Okay. Before I start, and by the way, what is the...
1 o'clock, we gotta hurry.
1 o'clock. Okay, no, well, here's the thing. No, here's the thing. When I give a talk, I talk until they take the mic from me. So it doesn't make any difference. There's no ending to it.
Now you're going to put pressure
There's
on
no
me.
ending. I could stay here all day as long as there's somebody here. Okay. But what I did want to say is there are 17 baseball players in the National Baseball Hall of Fame that were born in Texas. How many of those players are white? Come on, just make a guess. I don't expect anybody to know the exact answer. 5?
15. Out of how many?
Out of 17.
15.
Huh?
15.
11.
6.
Could be more. Close.
How many of them played in the major leagues? Meaning the National or the American League. There were other leagues back in the 1880s which might have counted, but how many of those 17 were in the major leagues? They're all in the National Baseball Hall of Fame. All of them? Wrong. 8 of them played in the Negro leagues. Only. 1 of them played in both. So there's 9 Negro League, 9 Major League. Who is the one player born in Texas? He was and since he played in both the Negro League and the Major Leagues, obviously he is one of the black ball players. Who is he?
Satchel Paige.
Who?
Satchel Paige.
Satchel Paige was not born in Texas. Satchel Paige was born in Alabama.
Ty Cobb.
Is Ty Cobb black? No, Ty Cobb was not. Back when Ty Cobb played, there were no black ball players in the major league. Huh? No, he played in Chicago.
Ernie Banks.
Ernie Banks. He's born in Dallas. Ernie Banks started his career with the Kansas City Monarchs and then went to the Chicago Cubs, and the Cubs was the only team he played for. Ernie Banks was famous for saying one thing, you know, it's like a beautiful day, let's play 2. He'd rather play 2 baseball games than a baseball game and go out and whatever. Okay. These are just pictures of my 2 books, of which of the 17 players we're going to be talking about, I think 12 of them are in my 2 books. Okay, what I'm going to do, and we will not have anywhere near the time to cover the whole thing, but I have no photos in the presentation, but I do have a Baseball Hall of Fame book where I've got flagged where all the players are, if anybody wants to take a look at some of these players. There are 6 pitchers. 2 of them, Nolan Ryan and Greg Maddux, pitched in the major leagues, and then there are 4 pitchers that only pitched in the Negro leagues. Bill Foster, Smokey Joe Williams, Hilton Smith, and Andy Cooper. There are 2 catchers. Both played in the Negro leagues. Louis Santop and Biz Mackey. There are 2 second basemen. Roger Hornsby and Joe Morgan. Joe Morgan being black second baseman for the Cincinnati Reds and I believe the Phillies, but he was, and of course the Astros. Moving on, Eddie Matthews, third base, played for the Braves in all 3 cities, Boston, Milwaukee, and Atlanta. Ernie Banks and Willie Wells, the 2 shortstops, both black, both played in the Negro Leagues. Ernie also played in the Major Leagues. Willie Wells is one of the best shortstops in history. Tris Speaker, center fielder, who played for the world champion Boston Red Sox, my team, 1912, a little bit before I was born. Ross Youngs, right fielder for the Giants. And Frank Robinson from Beaumont, Texas, Cincinnati Reds, Baltimore Orioles. And then there was a manager who also was a great pitcher, a great manager, and league organizer, and that's Rube Foster. If it wasn't for Rube Foster, there might not have been any Negro League players going to the major leagues, because he was the one that organized the first Negro League. Up until 1920, black teams were just independent teams that would play all comers. They'd play major league teams, but in 1920, Andrew Rube Foster started the Negro National League. So it's the 100th anniversary this year of the first Negro League. I just wanted to give you a couple things on Rube Foster. First, he was known as Andrew Foster. He was born in Calvert, Texas. And Bill Foster, who I mentioned a picture, he is a half-brother, 25 years younger than his older brother, Andrew. But Andrew got his nickname of Rube when he beat Hall of Fame pitcher Rube Waddell of the Philadelphia Athletics back in the early 1900s. In fact, in that first decade, 1900 to 1910, there were 4 pitchers listed in the best 10 players during that time period. 3 of the 4 pitchers Rube Foster had a connection to. First, he got his nickname Rube when he beat, as I said, when he beat Rube Waddell of the Philadelphia Athletics. But the manager of the New York Giants, John McGraw, one of the great managers of all time, said, "Man, I wish you were white because I want you to pitch on my team." But since he couldn't pitch on the New York Giants, he asked him, "Could you teach a couple of my young pitchers, Christy Mathewson and Iron Man McGinty, to throw your fadeaway pitch?" Now, a fadeaway pitch is basically a screwball, where a curveball will curve. A person who throws a curveball, so if I'm right-handed like this, it's going to go like that. A fadeaway or a screwball throws this way, and the ball goes away from the batter. Both Mathewson and McGinty were average pitchers in the early 1900s. They ended up in the Hall of Fame, and the Giants became one of the best teams of the decade after they learned how to throw the screwball. So Foster, 3 of the 4 best major league pitchers during that decade, Foster beat one of them and taught 2 of the others how to become all-star Hall of Fame pitchers rather than average pitchers. So to me, Foster was one of the best pitchers in baseball. He then became a baseball manager, and in the second decade, from 1910 to 1920, one of the best baseball teams in the country was the Chicago American Giants. They were a black baseball team. Many times they were better than the Cubs and the White Sox in Chicago at that time. One year they played like 112 games and lost 7 or 8. But he was an innovative manager. And they used to do what was called the bunt and run. Everybody, if you're a baseball fan, you've heard of the hit and run, right? Base runner takes off, and the batter will usually try to hit behind the runner, and the guy will go from first to third. If it gets between the outfielders, they score. Well, they used to do the bunt and run, because why did they do it? They had a guy like Cool Papa Bell on first base, and the objective was to go from first to third on a bunt. Well, one time they're playing a Major League All-Star team, and the catcher, who played for the 46 Red Sox, called in the infielders and the pitcher and said, "Okay, they're going to do that bunt and run. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go cover third base, because the third baseman comes in on the bunt, first baseman comes in." So anyway, sure enough, the bunt and run. As soon as the pitch is let go, Bell is off on the second, practically 2 seconds by the time the bunt goes down. The catcher runs to cover third base. By the time they throw the ball to him, Bell has stepped on third and he runs to home, and who's covering home? Nobody. All the way from first to home on a ball that went 10 feet. So as you can see, no way am I getting through this whole talk. Anyway, so Rube Foster, one heck of a guy in the Hall of Fame, and he really got in there for being a pitcher, a manager, and the league organizer. Okay, let me give you some other data on some of these guys. Of course, Nolan Ryan, probably the most famous of all the players from Texas. Nolan Ryan had a great career, and who can tell me something about Nolan Ryan that does not have to do with his pitching, but it was very famous when it happened?
Yeah, he clocked Robin Ventura for charging the mound.
That's right. Ryan, I'm pretty sure he hit Ventura with a pitch, and Ryan was wild. He probably did not mean to hit Ventura, but he really didn't know where the ball was going sometimes. He was, but that also made him very effective. When you've got a pitcher who's fast, throws hard, you know, and you don't know where it's going to hurt when you get hit. So Ventura just runs out to the mound, and Ryan, an old farm boy, just got him in a headlock and started pounding him in the head, and it's good they broke that up quick. But Nolan Ryan was a great pitcher. But the thing that actually held Ryan back from really being higher ranked, I mean, he was ranked, I think, as the 24th best major league pitcher. But when it comes to no-hitters and strikeouts and everything, you know, there's nobody better. But those walks, they used to say to me in Little League, because I was afraid of the fastball, walks as good as a hit. And it is. Get to first base. Well, Ryan walked 3 to 5 batters a game, so he might be pitching a one-hitter, but he still may be losing the game 2-1 because he walked in, maybe had a wild pitch or two, and next thing you know, he's losing. But he was certainly one of the great pitchers. Smokey Joe Williams, another one of those guys who never had a chance at the major leagues, but was a tremendous pitcher for the New York Lincoln Giants. Hilton Smith, I'll tell you something about Hilton Smith. When I wrote my 2 books, which honor the players in the Negro Leagues, honor them in a very special way, using baseball game simulation, I had these Negro League players in this game that I was a owner of a baseball game company, and had them play the greatest players in history. Well, Hilton Smith is one of the guys, and they had an author event down in Giddings, Texas. And the only reason I knew Giddings, Texas is Hilton Smith. I, just in my research, realized he was born there. So I thought, well, I'm an author now. I'm going to go to that event. Well, it turns out in the Giddings Library, they have a corner that is dedicated to the career of Hilton Smith in the Negro Leagues. Great pitcher for the Kansas City Monarchs. So I ended up getting my book put in the corner with all the Hilton Smith stuff. And I got to talk to his son, who lives up in Kansas City, and his son was the bat boy for the Kansas City Monarchs when his dad was a pitcher there. So I actually got connected to one of the guys in my book. Great pitcher. Andy Cooper, another guy who pitched in the Negro Leagues, was a great pitcher for the Detroit Stars from the 20s, most of the 20s, born in Waco. Greg Maddux. Greg Maddux, another one of those great Hall of Fame pitchers. In fact, one of the things about Greg Maddux is that when he started his career with the Cubs, no, actually, it was, I think, what year? I'm trying to remember. He began a stretch. I'm not sure what was the starting year. He went 17 years in a row of winning at least 15 games. I don't think there's been any other pitcher that has come close to that performance. Biz Mackey is one of the catchers he's in my book, from Eagle Pass, Texas. He was one of the first guys that had the nickname of basically being the next Babe Ruth. But I want to talk Roy Campanella, now he's not from Texas, but Roy Campanella, great black catcher who played for the Dodgers, he says that in his opinion, Biz Mackey was the master of defense of all catchers. When I was a kid in Philadelphia, I saw both Biz Mackey and Mickey Cochran in the Hall of Fame, a white ball player, and he thought that Mackey was better than Cochran defensively. Then when I went on to his direction in Baltimore, I was 15 years old. This is Roy Campanella. I gathered quite a bit from Mackey, watching how he did things, how he blocked pitchers and so forth. Well, also, Roy Campanella had another great Negro League catcher. Has anybody heard of Josh Gibson? Well, Josh Gibson hit more home runs than Babe Ruth. He probably hit 900 some odd home runs. He was unbelievable. Well, Campanella had Biz Mackey helping him to be a great defensive catcher, and he hit home runs, not as many as Josh Gibson, but Campanella hit over 40 once or twice, but was a big home run hitter for the Dodgers. Okay, I'm about done. I've hardly covered anybody. Rogers Hornsby, great player, second baseman, best hitting second baseman in baseball history. Hit over 403 times. Joe Morgan, Eddie Matthews, and I could go on. Anybody who wants to stay here till 5, I'll keep it. Yes, question.
I noticed that the induction date for many of the black Hall of Fame are fairly recent, even though they played back in the 30s and the...
Well, that's because until, in fact, Ted Williams, who's one of my favorite baseball players, having grown up in Boston, obviously, greatest hitter of all time as far as I'm concerned, but he is one of the keys to there being Negro League ball players in the Hall of Fame. 1966, when Ted Williams was inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame, he says, now is lucky to have played the game of baseball. But you know what's sad? He said Satchel Paige, Josh Gibson, and the other great from the Negro Leagues are not in the Hall of Fame. 5 years later, Satchel Paige went in. And from the 70s through the early 90s, there were maybe about 10 to 12 in. But then the Negro League the Veteran Committee said, you know, we need to do a little bit more research. There should be more Negro League players in. So in 1996, and I think in 2002, there's probably another 10 that went in. But all these players were good. Because let me tell you what happened in the 50s. We've got to wrap this up here. But in the 50s, the National League was way better than the American League on a league basis. Why was that? Jackie Robinson in 1947 comes up with the Dodgers. He's in the National League. So the National League team said, we better start getting some of these black players. Willie Mays and Hank Thompson ended up with the Giants. And the National League went after it. The American League was much slower. Why? The Yankees were the best team in the American League, and they took 8 years before they got a black player. The only owner in the American League that went after the black players was Bill Veeck of the Cleveland Indians. He gets Satchel Paige. He gets Larry Doby. He gets Minnie Minoso. Well, over the next 30 All-Star games, the National League won 95% of the games. Why? All the great black players were playing in the National League. I didn't know that till I did my own research. So, you know, were those guys good in the Negro League? Oh yeah, and it proved it on the Major League ball field. But that was a very good question as to why did it take so long for them to get in? Well, they weren't even considered until Williams complained. Okay.
Thank you. Who's the most famous baseball player from Greenville, Texas?
Oh, from Greenville, Texas. Oh, and I think I've had this question. I do know that there was a Yankee exhibition game played at the park out there. I went and saw that thing, but who is it?
Greenville.
Monty Stratton, I think.
Monty Stratton. Yeah, I think somebody mentioned it. So see, Monty Stratton. He's not in the National Baseball Hall of Fame.
That's okay. We have a road named after him. So. All right. If there's nothing else to bring before Rotary today, then that is all.